Blah, it's me. Good. Well, welcome to tonight's KWL Athletic Awards banquet. Obviously, we're live streaming this, just like every other thing we've done this spring due to coronavirus. We're glad that you could join us this evening. We're going to go through our different teams tonight and give out the awards that were earned during each season. And unfortunately, we were unable to have a track and golf season this year, so there will be no awards given out for those two teams. Tonight, we're going to start with boys basketball, and Mr. Camden Miller will give those awards.
Thank you, Mrs. McCord. Boys basketball this year. We finished 8-14. Junior varsity had a record of 7-9, and the junior and high improved a great deal by winning 7 games. Rafe Keene led our team with his heart and by his example. He practiced hard, demonstrated what it means to be a coachable athlete every day. A lot of things he did for us don't show up in the box score. We'll miss him and all the seniors who contributed in their ways over their last 6 years. Statistically, we were led by Bennett Neyman's 14 points a game. He scored a season-high 34 points against AC/DC, in which he made 9 3-pointers, a school record. Justin Becker was steady all season. He led our team in rebounding, 9 per game, and he ends his career the leader in single-game blocks with 7, season blocks with 69, and career blocks with 100. We didn't break any other team records this year, but we did record our 100th co-op victory against Oldham Ramona Rutland in Madison. And that wasn't even the most interesting thing about that game. In the first quarter, the power went out in the Madison Fieldhouse, and we had to play the rest of the game in the dark or in the skylights. We had a flip chart for the score, and they yelled the time remaining every minute. As always, was really proud of the way our boys behaved and represented their schools and their families. When things get back to normal, we'll have open gyms on Wednesday nights and Sunday nights. We'll get to our awards here. For letters, we have, if you are a first-time letter winner in any sport, I don't know if Dave can zoom in on this, you'll get the letter, the KWL letter. You'll also get your sport-specific pin. In case it was football, it'll be there. And you will also get a bar. And if you are a letter winner for your second, third time, you'll just get a bar. So varsity letter winners for basketball this year: seniors, Justin Becker, Rafe Keene, Riley Purcell. Juniors, Bennett Neyman, Brady Westendorf, and Kai Becker. And freshmen, Jackson Christensen and Dawson Miller. Give out senior plaques. They look like this. It's got all their career statistics on it from KWL. And Justin and Riley have theirs back in White Lake, and this one was Race that he would get. Our academic all-staters were Riley Purcell, does a great job in the classroom, and our statistician Megan Willman. All-conference. We're a member of the South Central Conference, and the coaches vote on these, and we had 2 recipients, Justin Becker and Bennett Neyman. The other awards that are going to look like this for all the sports, just different names on them, voted on by the players. We have most improved, and this was really close. We had 6 different people have votes on this. And the most improved player was Brady Westendorf. He went from backup point guard last year to our starting point guard this year and did a fine job. The Hustler Award this year goes to Rafe Keene, like I said in the beginning, he in practice every day showed us what it means to be a good teammate and a hard practicer. Our junior varsity most valuable player was Kai Becker. He led our team in a lot of categories, only playing 3 quarters a night. And our varsity most valuable player was Justin Becker. He led our team in those categories, kept us in a lot of games, won games for us. We'll really miss him a great deal. I also want to thank Mr. Schroeder, Mrs. McCord, and Mrs. Terrell for scheduling and making everything go really smooth. Our bus drivers and scorekeepers and clock operators and everybody who makes the season go on. Statisticians, especially Megan Willman, Morgan Schroeder did a great job keeping our stats. We review everything, but they are so close all the time. They're maybe off 1 or 2, and that is tough when it's going on live. Really, really thankful for our assistant coaches, Dare Evans and Will Gottlieb. They do a fantastic job, both practice and in-game situations. They help me out a ton. And then, of course, our parents for all the support. Post-game meals, pre-game meals, donations for tournaments, cheering in the stands, and just allowing your child to be a part of the basketball program. So, thanks again, and I will turn it over to, who's next? Mrs. Dykstra.
Good evening, everybody. This is kind of weird, talking into a camera. A little peanut gallery over here. First off, I'm going to start out by reading off a list of my participants from this season. Seniors, we had Ellie Overweg, Grace Knichny, and Journey Herdman. Our juniors were Kennedy Leiferman, Hannah Havlick, Sydney McCord, and Allison Sinclair. Sophomores, Hannah Meyer, Angela Munson, Brooke Knowles, and Faylene Overweg. Freshmen, Danny Deffenbaugh, Ryan Grusing, Madison Heath, Kate Havlick, and Swayze Ness. 8th graders were Harley Naymani, Ryan Nielsen, Madison Meyer, Kylie Talbot, and Geraldine Overweg. 7th graders were Summer Skluzak, Lindy Keene, Sydney Stahl, Shada Ness, Elena Brennan, and Matea Kaler. And then we had a group of statisticians, Hazelyn Johnson, Josie McCord, Cami Comfort, Marcella from Brazil, Hannah Meyer, Madison Meyer, and then our videographer was Summer Skluzak for this season. The KWL girls Wildcat basketball team, we had a record of 15-8 this year, and our season ended against Faith in the Sodak 16. We had a pretty successful season. Ended 1 game earlier than we thought, or that we wanted it to, but overall we accomplished a lot of things. We set a lot of goals and achieved a lot of our goals, and the overall bigger picture is everybody got better. We had a great competitive team. The girls showed up, made everybody better every day. We had great leadership. I never had to question anybody's effort or work ethic. They showed up with one goal in mind, and they wanted to get it done. A couple things this year. We did have a couple records that were broken this year. First off, we had Kennedy Leiferman, who went over her 1,000th point this season against Bonhomme, which at the end of the season, her career scoring points stands at 1,216 and counting, as she is still a junior. She also now holds the school record for career rebounds with 670, career free throws with 333, the highest free throw percentage in a season with 71%. And then another kind of cool record that she also broke this year was the scoring record for points in a game, which against Chamberlain back in December, Kennedy had a 40-point performance. I just want to give a shout out to our seniors. Journey joined us this year, and she was the best teammate that anybody could have had. She showed up to practice every day. She pushed everybody to get better. She hustled, and she was just a positive influence on everybody on the team. We're going to miss 2 big seniors next year in Ellie Overweg and Grace Knichny. I honestly can't think of them not being at basketball or not being on the team. That's how long I feel that they have been there. But both of them had very successful careers for us. Great leadership, great presence on the court, and just overall the best people, that you would want on a team as well. So Ellie, she kind of made her stamp in the record books this year. She had a 6 3-point shooting performance against AC/DC in the postseason here, which put her second on the 3-point makes in a game career list, behind Whitney Hinker, who had 7, so she was really close. And then she ends the KWL record books as 6th place with a final total of 48 career 3-point makes. Then Grace Konieczny, she finishes 5th all-time with scoring with 647. She ended 3rd all-time on the rebounding list with 501. This is a big stat for girls basketball. She ended 2nd all-time on the blocked shots career list. And then she also broke the single game record for blocks in a game this year versus AC/DC in the regular season with 5. I just want to go through some awards that the girls have won throughout our letter winners and things like that. First off, our team captains for this year were Grace Konieczny and Kennedy Leiferman. Letter winners for this year. Now remember, if you are a returning letter winner, you just need to grab the bar. If this is your first year being a letter winner in basketball, you'll have to grab the little basketball and a bar. And if this is your first sport that you've lettered in, period, you'll have to grab the KWL emblem as well. So letter winners for this year were Grace Konieczny, Ellie Overweg, Kennedy Leiferman, Allison Sinclair, Sydney McCord, Danny Deffenbaugh, Journey Herdman, and Kate Havlick. We had 2 seniors that landed on the academic all-state team, which not only doesn't measure their performance on the court, but these seniors also have to have a career GPA of 3.5 or higher. Both Grace and Ellie achieved the academic all-state honor. We are in the SCC, which is the South Central Conference for basketball, and we had 3 team members land on the all-SCC conference team. Those were Kennedy Leiferman, Grace Konieczny, and Ellie Overweg. We had Kennedy Leiferman, who averaged 19.3 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game. She landed herself on the girls' Class B second team all-state team, which is voted by the South Dakota High School Coaches Association, all the basketball coaches around the state. And Kennedy also got, just recently last week, was awarded the KORN Q107 Elite 8 Female Athlete of the Year Award. What this is it's the 8 female athletes that are, dominant in their sport, but as well their performance, or this award, is also based on their GPA, their community involvement. So they have to get business done not only in their respected sport, but in the community as well. And now for our team awards. And the team awards, these are voted on by the players. Our Hustler Award this year, and I believe this is the 2nd year that she got this award, goes to Sydney McCord. This year we had 2 Diabolic Defender Awards. One of them is Ellie Overweg. I can't say enough about Ellie. I gave her a job. She was always on the other team's best offensive player, and she stepped up and knew that's how she could contribute. But our other Co-Defensive Player of the Year award goes to Grace Konieczny. I think a lot of times people overlook that post player, but she kept the lane on lockdown and came out of there with a lot of rebounds and big stops when we needed her to. Our Offensive Weapon Award went to Kennedy Leiferman. Our Most Enthusiastic Award went to Hannah Havlick. Our Most Improved Award went to Kate Havlick. And our Varsity MVP Award, again, went to Kennedy Leiferman. Our Junior Varsity Hustler Award went to Ryan Grusing. And our Junior High Hustler Award went to Summer Skluzak. Okay? And then to end things here, on June 1st, we, through the South Dakota High School Activities Association and through the Kimball and White Lake schools, have been allowed to resume kind of our open gym setup for the summer based on the fact that the return to normal plan continues, as we all hope. So girls basketball open gyms are Tuesdays and Fridays. On Tuesdays, we will do shooting from 8:30 to 9, and then open gym is from 9 to 10. And those are in White Lake. And on Fridays, same time frame, same setup, shooting from 8:30 to 9, and then open gym from 9 to 10 as well. Also, sacred hoop dates have been set. There has been a flyer posted to that. I posted it on my personal Facebook wall. Feel free to share that. And I also had Dave Lear put it on the school websites as well. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email. I think I have my phone number on there as well. The dates, times, and locations for those are there. I also want to say thank you. I know Mr. Miller thanked our athletic directors and some of our other staff members, but, Bob and Stephanie set up all the games, officials, they get locker rooms and everything ready just to make sure everything is ready when we have games. So I want to say a thank you to them putting schedules together. I also want to say a thank you to our parents. Every away game that we had, our parents provide the girls with sandwiches, drinks, and snacks. So it's a kind of a nice thing for those kids to have something on the bus. I know the kids really like it. It's the best time for cold meat sandwiches. They always taste better when someone else makes them anyways. I also want to thank the Kimball and White Lake Athletic Boosters. They pay for, or they donate money for all of us sports here to have a huddle account, which is what we do with film exchange and just, self-improvement by watching yourself on film. I also want to thank Gary Leiferman, First Dakota Bank, Ron's Market, and then some of the parents who provided meals for the girls basketball team during postseason when we were on the road for some of those things. I know it seems like a little gesture, but I think it's really, the girls really feel special that they kind of got that treatment headed off through the postseason. So with all of that, I am finished. I don't know who is next.
All right, Kimball White Lake Platte Geddes Wrestling. I want to start off by thanking lots of people that we need to thank. Start off with administrators, custodians, making sure our season goes smoothly. There's a lot of time and effort that goes on behind the scenes, and we do appreciate that to make sure things go smoothly. Our booster club, like Coach Dykstra said, the huddle account's big. And lots of various different ways that the Booster Club helps us out with end of the year parties and various things like that. We appreciate all the help from the Booster Clubs. Our community and fans, we had some great success this year, and a lot of that tied into all the support that we got from the communities and the fans, and so that is definitely appreciated. The parents, wrestling's a tough, long season on the athletes. It's also tough on the parents. We appreciate the parents sticking with it, putting in a lot of time as well. So thank you to the parents, and along the same lines, coaches, the other coaches, and the coaches' wives. Lots of time commitments there, and being separated from family and loved ones. So we appreciate all that. Thanks for all you've done. Lastly, I want to thank the athletes, and specifically the seniors. Cassidy, Catherine, our statisticians will be seniors. Then our senior wrestlers, Wyatt and Austin. It's been great being able to watch these kids grow and become responsible adults, and they help us out in many different ways. So on to the awards, or on to the season, a little season recap. Individually, our team placed second at the region for the individual title for the second year in a row. And then at the state tournament, we placed seventh as a team on the individual side. New this year, the state brought back state dual tournament. And this is something that I've been looking forward to for quite a few years. We really emphasize the team aspects in an individualized sport to some degree. The team efforts, I think that's what kids are going to take away the most, and our kids have really bought into that, and I think the success and them buying into that has contributed to the success. We did qualify for the state dual tournament. We placed third. And again, along those lines, team efforts, just some examples. Kids bumping up weight classes to try and get a win or to save some bonus points. kids wrestling, state tournament, kids with injuries still wrestling in the dual tournament, even though they still are trying to accomplish their individual accomplishments. They sacrifice that a little bit for the team, and the teammates, the coaches, the fans, they all appreciate that effort. And with all those team efforts, we had a successful year, placed third with state. On the individual state tournament, we had 10 wrestlers qualify, which is a record. They were Case and Constance, Kyler Constance, Chase Barlick, Carter Lenz, Wyatt Talbot, Grayson Hansen, Spencer Hansen, Levi Nightingale, Austin Severson, Cameron Stiles. Of those 10, 5 placed. Kaysen was 6th, Chase was 5th, Wyatt was 3rd, Spencer was runner-up, and Levi was 6th. And the other 5 wrestlers were all one match away from getting on the award stand. So great job to those wrestlers. Now on to the awards. Our letter winners this year: Hayden Myers, Kaysen Constance, Kyler Constance, Lucas Lenz, Chase Barlick, Carter Lenz, Wyatt Talbot, Grayson Hansen, Joey Boss, Holden Havlick, Roger Duba, Spencer Hansen, Levi Nightingale, Jacob Novak, Austin Severson, Cameron Stiles, Jaden Kaler, Cassidy Ashley, Auburn Pulse, Catherine Nightingale. Will also get letters for being statisticians. Our junior high wrestlers, Gavin Walsh also wrestled some varsity for us. And then just to recognize our junior high wrestlers: Johnny Lenz, Jace Solik, Hayes Havlick, Garrett Wessendorf, Adley Rendell, and Dalton Deffenbaugh. On to some team awards. First, Academic All-State, 3.5 GPA, and participating 4 years in wrestling or as a wrestling statistician. Those two were Catherine Nightingale and Wyatt Talbot. Most falls or pins this year was Levi Nightingale with 29. Most team points. This has become my favorite award. Back to that team aspect in an individual sport. They're scoring extra points for the team. And this year, winning by just a half point was Levi Nightingale with 232 team points. Most improved, I think you can make a case for every single one of our wrestlers, all the way down to junior high wrestlers. The improvement we see in these kids, some from year to year, some from first day of practice to the end of the season. The amount of improvement that we see is awesome, which reflects on our wrestlers being coachable and having a good attitude. This year, I think 2 of them stood out the most, and they actually tied on the vote, would be Spencer Hansen and Chase Barlick. Our most dedicated wrestler, somebody who's sacrifices a lot for the team, is ready to wrestle every single time he steps out on the mat. This year's most dedicated wrestler is Grayson Hansen. Our hardest worker, wrestling is kind of billed as kind of a hard-nosed, tough, being a hard worker in the practice room, out on the mat, and I think a lot of our wrestlers show that every day in the practice room. Again, for the 3rd year in a row, he's kind of stood out as just a little bit higher than all the other wrestlers. And this year's hardest worker, again, Wyatt Talbot. Our most valuable wrestler, 3-time state place winner, 3-time state qualifier, always up there with our scoring team points, leading our team. Was a great leader as a senior this year. This year's most valuable wrestler is Wyatt Talbot. So again, I'd just like to wrap up. Thanks to all the people out there that contributed to a successful season, and we'll look forward to another one next year. Thanks.
Good evening. I would like to begin this evening with giving some thank yous to people who made our football season go well. And I'll start with student managers. We had 5. They were all 7th and 8th graders. Those 5 were Blake Leiferman, Holden Havlick, Cooper Leiferman, Ryder Mahalik, Ryden Becker. Thank you to you 5 for doing the little things that get us ready on game night. The next group of people, the gals that I want to thank, are our stat girls. And we have an outstanding group this year. They started a new program. As a coach, I never had it so easy. After a game, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to make phone calls to the papers, to the TV stations. Everything was taken care of. A huge thank you to Kennedy, Megan, Grace, and Danny for the job that you gals did. And the third thank you I want to hand out tonight, 5 assistant coaches. In my career as a head coach, I've never had a staff as good as these 5 guys. And I truly appreciate them helping me in my first year here, helping me have a wonderful year. Those 5, Levi Rendell, Jesse Kirsch, Brent Leiferman, Troy Becker, and Cordell Keene. And moving on to the awards part of this evening, I will mention, as far as lettering, all of you that were out and played the entire season, you will letter. So long as you didn't quit, you are getting a letter. The first award I want to talk about tonight is All Conference. We had 5 players selected first team All Conference. Those 5 players were Justin Becker, Rafe Keene, Caden Lentz, Wyatt Talbot, Nolan Kirsch. The next award that I will move to is Academic All-State. We had 4 who qualified for Academic All-State. You have to play 3 years and have a GPA of 3.5 or better. The 4 that we had were players Caden Lentz, Wyatt Talbot, Riley Purcell, and our stat girl Grace Koneshki. The next award that I'll move on to is Honorable Mention All-State. We had 1 player who received that. That player was Rafe Keene at linebacker. And now on to First Team All-State. We had 2 players selected First Team All-State in football this year. The first one, Justin Becker, was selected at tight end. He was the number 1 vote getter there. Had Justin not received All-State at tight end, he would have gotten it at defensive end. He was an All-State talent on both sides of the ball. Second player who received First Team All-State is Caden Lenz at special teams. A lot of years, Caden was a great special teams player. First of all, he kicked off for us. He ran back kicks, he ran back punts, and when we punted, he was our snapper. So he did everything on all 4 special teams. But a lot of years, the player that gets special teams All-State is a kid who wasn't an All-Stater in another spot for various reasons. And the reason Caden wasn't is because he moved around in so many different positions this year because of injuries. So we had 2 first-team All-Staters, Justin Becker and Caden Lentz. I will now move on to the individual awards portion. The first award I want to give out is the Most Improved Player Award. When I was looking at taking this job, I'd asked a number of people about players returning, and this kid wasn't mentioned much. The first night I watched him running routes and catching the football, I knew he was going to be a good football player for me. He is a kid that is an inspiration to players who struggle early in their career. Maybe they're small, maybe they're slow, maybe things just aren't going their way and they're not getting a lot of time. This kid stuck with it and ended up having just an outstanding senior year. His individual stats, he had 21 receptions, 387 yards. That's 18.4 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns. On defense, he had 42 tackles, 2 interceptions. This year's Most Improved Player Award goes to Wyatt Talbot. The next award I'm giving out is the Best Lineman Award. When the season began, this kid started in 2 positions that he did not end up in because of injuries. He was going to be our fullback when we lost one of our top linemen before the first game of the year. Had to make a decision and decided to move him up to the offensive guard. And then he began the year at linebacker and ended up moving up to defensive end. He's a kid that we ran behind a lot when we had the ball. And then on defense, He had 58 tackles and 4 sacks. This year's Best Lineman Award goes to Levi Nightingale. The next award that I'm giving out is the Wildcat Award. And to me, this goes to a kid who is going to do anything to help the team and play a number of positions. I've already talked about him some. Here are his individual numbers this year. He had 1,183 yards of total offense. He scored 11 touchdowns. On defense, he had 35 tackles, being our top defender versus the pass, and had 2 interceptions. This year's Wildcat Award goes to Caden Lentz. The next award I'm giving out is the Best Offensive Player Award. This kid had his season basically cut in half. The first half of our season, he was putting up numbers that were all-state caliber. He was throwing for almost 200 yards a game, running for almost 100 yards a game. At one point, he had 10 touchdown passes, no interceptions. We got off to a great start because of how well he was playing. Ended up tearing his labrum in his shoulder, and his season was cut short. His numbers on the year: 60 completions out of 93 attempts, 924 yards with 10 touchdowns. He also ran the ball 89 times for 422 yards, another 8 touchdowns. He also accounted for a total of 11 two-point conversions. This year's Best Offensive Player Award goes to Nolan Kirsch. The next award I'm giving out is the Best Defensive Player Award. This kid led the team with 81 tackles. He had 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, blocked a punt at a key moment in a win. I've coached 15 years as a head coach. I can only compare one kid in those 15 years to this kid as a defensive football player. This year's Best Defensive Player Award goes to Rafe Keene. The final individual award is the Most Valuable Player Award. On the season, individually, he had 34 catches for 722 yards. That's 21.3 yards per catch with 8 touchdowns. On defense, he had 68 tackles and 7 sacks. In the second half of the season, I started giving the ball, letting him run it some, and he even threw a couple passes on trick plays. He did it all well. You don't run across an athlete like this often in life. 6'7", 6'8" kids aren't supposed to move the way he did. They're not supposed to hit the way he does. I wish him well as he continues his career at Dakota Wesleyan, playing football there. This year's Most Valuable Player Award goes to Justin Becker. We finished our season with a record of 5-4. I felt that was very solid against a loaded schedule. And I look forward to continuing this program, trying to build it into a contending status as the years come on. Thank you very much.
Well, I was told I wasn't supposed to say any jokes because nobody was going to laugh back at me. So I'm just going to get into it here. First things first, I'd like to introduce our volleyball participants. Kimber Rasmussen, Alexis Fink, Jamie Houston, Lindy Keene, Anna Orzoko, Michaela Kaler, Taylor Rendell, Tori Fink, Morgan Schroeder, Madison Meyer, Harley Naymani, Kylie Talbot, Ryan Grusing, Cami Comfort, Haley Houston, Roxy Stonke, Angela Munson, Brooke Knowles, CJ Munson, Auburn Pulse, Daytona Geyer, Mercedes Hillman, Emily Konieczny, Trinity Arneson, Hannah Meyer, Megan Gillen, Judy Chu, and Marcella from Brazil. Our letter winners to letter in volleyball, you have to participate in 1/3 of the matches. Our letter winners are Grace Konieczny, Catherine Nightingale, Kennedy Leiferman, Allison Sinclair, Danny Deffenbaugh, Madison Heath, and Ryan Nielsen. Also, student manager Hazelyn Johnson. A little recap of our season. We finished our season 15-13, and we battled back from an 0-8 start to going to October and only losing 1 match to top-ranked Miller.
our start was rough. There's no other way to say that, but I just felt like these kids really persevered. This was a young team and some key positions, and it took time to develop the confidence to play those positions. And we also played a really tough schedule to start with. I have to applaud our seniors, Grace Konieczny and Catherine Nightingale, for helping weather that storm and keeping this team positive and, more importantly, together. This was a team that both Dare and I knew had a lot of potential. We just needed to come together. And unfortunately, time was not on our side this season. We lost to top-seeded Burke in the regional semifinal, and so we had a tough road to climb there. Looking back on our season, I feel like our best game that we played was probably when we played Platte Geddes. We hit over 700 that night, which basically meant, if you put that in perspective, that for every 10 hits, 7 of them were kills. We just were on fire that night. It was just such a fun match to watch and to play. And then I think our other match that was probably the most exciting was our 5-set thriller against Chamberlain. We were down 2 sets, the first 2 sets, and then we just kind of responded. And Chamberlain, they opened the door for us, but I think we shut it. And that was a really fun match. We had many challenges this season, but I'm really proud of how our kids responded. We had lots of improvements that were made by our younger kids during the junior high season and our C team and JV season as well. This was a young team that just continued to get better as the season went on. A few people I want to thank here. I want to thank Dare, who joined our program. He brought a ton of energy and experience and knowledge to our team. I also want to thank Kim Meyer for keeping book for me, and then Hazelyn Johnson stepped up and helped coach when we were shorthanded, and so I really appreciate her stepping up to the plate there. I'd also like to thank the parents for their support, just as Tacey had talked about with sandwiches and things like that. We couldn't do that without you guys. And then I want to thank Dave Lear for live streaming all of our home events, and even events like tonight. It's a wonderful option to have, to be able to watch games when you can't be there on live stream. So I want to thank Dave. If he's ready to have someone commentate, or if he wants to start announcing these games, we can work on that. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started on our awards. First things first, our varsity team was an academic all-state team. And in order to do that, you have to have a 3.5 GPA, a cumulative 3.5 GPA. So we were an academic all-state team. I also had 2 academic all-state participants, Grace Konieczny and Catherine Nightingale. You have to have a 3.5 GPA or higher, and have to have participated in volleyball for 4 years. We are part of the South Central Conference. We had 3 that were voted on for that award, and that was Kennedy Leiferman, Grace Konieczny, and Danny Deffenbaugh. Another event that is coming up this summer that I want to draw your attention to, it's called the Adrenaline Future 50 event. In order to be a part of this Future 50 event, there were 250 nominations from all 3 classes, B, A, and AA, and they selected 50 athletes for this event. Kennedy Leiferman was one of those that was selected, and it's basically like an all-star event. They divided them up into 6 teams, this 50 into 6 teams, and it will be played at the Sanford Pentagon on July 26th. And they will practice and they'll drill together, and then they'll compete like an all-star match. And of course, it's open to the public from 3 to 7 at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls on July 26th. So these events are still hopefully going to be happening this summer. Another event that Adrenaline hosts is the Rising Star event, and this is they took nominations for anyone in grades 7 through 9th grade that are upcoming future volleyball stars. And we were fortunate to get 2 people that will participate in this Rising Star event, and that was Ryan Nielsen and Danny Deffenbaugh. And that is also July 26th at the Pentagon, and they will participate in skills and drills and participate with some of the younger players out there. The next thing we'll talk about are the team awards, and those are voted on by the team. we give out several awards here. The first one is Best Prospect. Best Prospect is given to someone that you can see being a real, a future leader or future, someone that's going to really help our team out in the future. And this year's Best Prospect Award goes to Ryan Nielsen. Our Most Improved Award could go to several different players as they improve from last year to this year or just from the beginning of the season to the end. So that's usually a pretty tight vote there. Our Most Improved Award goes to Madison Heath. Our Best Defensive Player, we relied on this person quite heavily defensively as passing, being a consistent passer, someone that can get the ball to the setter. You know, defense is key to being successful. And our best defensive player was Kennedy Leiferman. Our best offensive player is someone that is consistent as a hitter, could also be a setter, but this person is very consistent as a hitter. She's our go-to. We know that if we get the ball up to her, she can put the ball down and score points. And our best offensive player goes to Kennedy Leiferman. Our MVP this season has always been a solid go-to player. She's got a great serve. She hits the ball well. She passes well. But this year, what I think probably set her apart was just being a great leader and someone that the girls could look up to. This was a very young team, and they needed someone that was calm and steady and pushed them, and our MVP goes to Grace Konieczny. A few things with our record book as we are finishing our season here. I would like to just kind of highlight Grace Konieczny in going into the career all-time records of what we have for career. Grace will finish second all-time with kills with 832 kills. She will finish second with all-time blocks with 146 kill blocks. Third career all-time digs with 761 digs. She also will finish second as all-time aces with 160, and she finishes her career with second as all-time points scored with 1,094. Couple of things just as we look towards this summer. We have July 30th and 31st, Krista DeGeest will be here for a skills camp. There will be a flyer coming out on that soon, and it's for grades, anyone in grades next year's 4th through 12th grade. But that will be July 30th and 31st, so please look for information on that. And we will begin our open gyms following girls basketball, Tuesdays in White Lake after girls basketball, and Fridays in Kimball. And then also Tuesday nights we'll be doing setter training for anyone that's interested in those kinds of things. So I guess I'll turn this over to Steph McCord in cross country.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so for cross country, first of all, I would like to recognize all of the runners that we had on our team this year. We had 23 total runners, 11 of them were junior high. We had Gavin Walsh, Adley Rindle, David Leiferman, Ian Metcalf, Zian Vaverka, Cadence Konieczny, Riley McCord, Harley Fagan, Elena Brennan, Autumn Baker, and Sydney Stahl. And our varsity runners were 12 in number, and all of these runners are letter winners this year as well. Drew Ekstrom, Carter Lenz, Dawson Miller, Porter Miller, Park Sinclair, Kai Becker, Taya Chelmo, Josie McCord, Christine Galke, Akane Metcalf, Summer Skluzak, and Sydney McCord. Dawson, Porter, Park, Akane, and Summer are all first-time letter winners for cross country, so they will receive their KWL letters as well as their pens and bars. This year we had a little bit about our season. We dealt with a lot of weather issues as we did in our track season in the spring. We had very wet courses. We had several meets that were canceled because of that. So we had a lot of rearranging that we had to do in our season with different meets that we went to. But we still made the most of it. We would go out and run a lot of road miles this year. We didn't get out to the golf course as much as we'd like to in the past. But the kids still persevered and did the best that they could with what we had to deal with. We also had 5 runners that qualified for state this year, and to qualify for state you have to get in the top 20 individual places at our region meet. This year, the first time that we had our region meet at Scotland since we have had our program back in place here between Kimball White Lake. And it was a very tough, hilly course. We ran on it earlier in the season, and it had already been deemed one of our least favorites, according to the athletes. But we did get Drew Ekstrom, who placed exactly in the 20th spot to snag that. Sydney McCord, Christine Gawke, Taya Chelmo, and Josie McCord also placed exactly 20th to go on to regions this year, or to go on to the state meet this year. Before I get to our individual awards for boys and for the girls, I'm going to thank you also to Chris Heineman, who was our first assistant coach that we had. It was awesome to have him with us. We've been growing over the years. Like I said, we had 23 runners, and it's great for 2 people to be out there working with the different level of kids that we had. Our parents are always great supports coming to our meets and cheering us on all over the course. If you haven't been to cross country, you know that's not something you just stand in one place and get to watch. You have to kind of get all over the course with the kids, so you're running as much as they are. And I'd also like to thank the communities in our school districts for their constant support. This summer, we usually attend a camp. We try to attend a camp down at Lake Andes, and it has already been canceled. So what we have come up with is a virtual challenge that we are competing in with all of the kids and community people that usually go to this camp. It entails about 6, 7, 8 different communities from around the area. And due to its cancellation, then we're challenging ourselves to run 220 miles for the summer of 2020. And that distance was created because that is the distance between all of our towns. It's a huge goal, but it is something that at least gives us a distance to work towards, and something that kind of gets our minds off of not being able to do our normal activities for the summer. Okay, so I'm going to start with our boys cross country team. They were also academic all-state team. And best prospect, this goes to one of our runners who is probably in our younger age group, but is in the future looking to be someone who we're going to count on a lot for scoring for our varsity, for making a big impact on our team scores and such, and that goes to Park Sinclair. Our most improved award, this is a boy who was out for the first time for me this year. He started on the varsity team, but every meet that we went to, you could see his improvement. He would drop times and just getting closer to the middle and top part of those packs, and the most improved goes to Porter Miller. The teammate award for the boys is somebody who is always there cheering for the kids, supporting the kids in the races, at practices, keeping them going, and keeping them with positive attitudes, because sometimes running can be a little monotonous. So this award goes to Dawson Miller this year. Hardest Worker Award is a person who is out there, whether they have injury, maybe they've been sick, but they're also always persistent and working hard no matter what the conditions are. And I believe this is the second year in a row for this person to receive this, and the Hardest Worker Award goes to Carter Lenz. And finally, for the boys' side, is our MVP award. And this person is one that brings a lot of points to our team, is always placing in the top at all the meets that we go to, maybe placing first or second for our team all the time. And this year's MVP is Drew Ekstrom. So now to the girls' side for cross country. They were also an academic all-state team this year. Best prospect on the girls' side, again, that person that is running, maybe running varsity, maybe is not on varsity the whole time, but you know that they're going to make an impact in years to come. And this runner is just a 7th grader as well, and that is Summer Skluzak, our best prospect. Our most improved girl for cross country this year is one that works hard, mentally and is physically always giving her best to everything that she does. And she ran and missed going to state by just a couple of spots this year. And the most improved goes to Akane Metcalf. Teammate award for the girls, again, that person that's always positive, pushing the kids to do their best at practices, at meets, just during the week or at school, just being a positive influence. This year's teammate award is Christine Gawke. The hardest worker award, a person, again, that is working hard, doesn't complain, gets out there and does their best with whatever you're asking them to do, and brings it and shows up every day at practices and at meets. And that award this year goes to Josie McCord. And then this year's girls cross country MVP is a person that has made massive improvements over the past couple of years and has gone from someone who was part of our team and scoring for us, but someone this year who was at the front of our pack all year long and was pulling the rest of the team along behind her. And our MVP this year for girls cross country is Taya Chelmo. And finally, I'd like to recognize a cross country team leader. And this is kind of a leader that we have over all of our cross country group. We're boys and we're a girls cross country team, but we practice together, we work together, we go to meets together, and we support each other in and out of cross country season and all year long. And this person has been on varsity cross country for 5 years, and our cross country team leader this year for KWL was Sydney McCord. So I think that is all for cross country. But I'm going to stay up here and I'm going to give out the cheerleading awards for Samantha Konechny, who could not be here tonight. So Samantha has given out 6 awards, 3 for football and 3 for basketball. The first one we are giving out is the Outstanding Leadership in Football Cheerleading. And this goes to a person who did an outstanding job leading the team in both practice and at games. She stepped up helping teach new cheers, which was extremely helpful with a first-time coach. And the Outstanding Leadership Award for football goes to Catherine Nightingale. For basketball, this girl always came to practice and games with a positive attitude. She always brought new ideas and helped create new material. Outstanding leadership for basketball this year goes to Emily Konechny. The next award is for Wildcat Pride. For football, this cheerleader was extremely committed to cheer and motivated to keep the KWL spirit alive. She continued to be enthusiastic about cheer and leading the crowd and supporting the KWL teams. And the Wildcat Pride Award for football is Angela Munson. For basketball, the Wildcat Pride cheerleader was very dedicated to cheer and supporting the teams we were rooting on. She does a great job encouraging the crowd to get involved with cheers. And the Wildcat Pride Basketball Award goes to Angel Fletcher. And finally, the Most Improved Award for cheerleading. This cheerleader did an amazing job learning how to stunt. She worked in different stunt groups as a flyer, base, and back spot and adapted well to her stunt groups. For Most Improved for football this year goes to Sydney McCord. And finally, the Most Improved for basketball. This girl worked hard during practices and games to improve herself. She focused on increasing her skills on both flexibility and jumps. And Most Improved for basketball this year is Mercedes Hillman. Okay, I'm going to take a break for a second. And I'm back. Just making it comical here. Thank you. Okay, so thanks, Sarah, for laughing. So there's one thing, there's a couple things, I guess, in closing that I want to talk about. This first one is with the South Dakota High School Baseball Association, and I know that's not something that goes through the school, but because they did not have a season this year, I did want to recognize 2 of our school athletes that were nominated regardless of whether they had a season or not, for Academic All-State. And so Academic All-State for the South Dakota High School Baseball Association was Caden Lenz and Wyatt Talbot. And then I would also, if you have noticed this jacket that is on the front of the podium here tonight, we are, I hope as a group, excuse me, Dave, trying to bring back leather jackets. And this is a design that we came up with Sun Gold trophies. And we had two student athletes that ordered these this year just to kind of see what they were going to be like. And so I have created, or actually Sun Gold Trophies created an order form that I will put online. I'll put it on our school pages and on our Facebook pages. If you are interested for your student athletes to be able to put their letters on that they're being awarded here tonight, these are great for your academic or your non-athletic awards too, your music awards, your oral interp and everything. But they can order these jackets. All the information is online, and I'm going to take them through June 20th if anybody is interested. And please feel free to call me with any more information or questions that you have. Anything else, coaches and other ADs, before we kind of close out? What else was I going to say, just to pick up? Okay, thank you. Okay, so as we finish our live stream, I'm thankful that you could all join us tonight. Our awards will be at our respective schools. If you're a Kimball athlete, your awards will be here at the Kimball School. If you are a White Lake athlete, your awards will be at the White Lake School for your pickup. The KWL letters should be in here next week. But all of your pens and certificates, I think, are here already. So they will be in probably the offices to be picked up. And I guess that's it. Are we good? Sarah, you good? Are you fine? Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Good night.